This podcast was produced by B. Haywood for Confirmed Podcast Network.
I'm Big. It's the Big and Lazy Podcast, and we got two special guests. Not one, two special guests. We got Demontaze, Duncan Juicy, and we got his business partner and trainer, Nick Bareis, man. We appreciate y'all coming.
Yeah, what's up, man? Thank you for having us on there. You know.
How y'all doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good in yourself.
I can't complain, man. So how long have you been into the boxing game? Like how long and how'd you get started into it? You know?
Well, I started Demontaze out as a young athlete, but going back a couple years before that, probably around 2011. No, about 2010, 2011. I was watching a lot of boxing on TV. I'd been doing it for years. I was working ridiculous hours at a restaurant, managing restaurants and hotels, go home every day, smoke weed, drink beer, watch boxing every day. And as I'm watching it, I kind of felt like that there wasn't any boxing that I knew of in Louisville, right? So I started looking on my phone, trying to see if there was any boxing events, and I didn't really see anything. So my mind kind of started wondering if there was any opportunities for boxing. And I've always wanted to coach. It was always a passion and something that I had as a dream that I wanted to grow up and be a coach. But I really was more interested in coaching basketball. So I'm just sitting there and I'm brainstorming, and I tell my brother one day, I was like, man, I'm about to start a boxing team.
Yeah.
And he was like, what? What you talking about? And I was like, yeah, man, I'm about to get some kids in the hood, and I'm gonna start a boxing team. And he was like, man, you are crazy, dude. So I thought about it. For a couple more weeks, I told some people. People kind of laughed at it. It just seemed kind of far-fetched. And I did just that. I found some young guys that wanted to box or wanted to give it an opportunity, and we started a boxing club in my backyard, kind of like Fight Club, the movie.
Yeah. And
I knew very little about boxing training, a lot about sports, a lot about different other sports, and I went to library, Iroquois Public Library, and rented Muhammad Ali's autobiography. Read the whole thing, went and got another book, read the whole thing, seen what he did for training, and I started training kids to box. And the ones that I started with were like 18, 19 years old, and I was seeing potential in them. I was like, this guy could be something, he playing football, basketball, whatever. And then I went and took them around. They were winning some matches, but then when I went to Cincinnati, I noticed that boxing was for youth.
Yeah.
And the guys that I had was already kind of timed out, right? Life had already started catching up to them. They started having kids. They weren't, their bad habits, drinking, smoking, shit like that. So I was like, let me pump the brakes on these older guys and do it the right way. And I went and got me some young guys. I found Demontaze and his brother, Man. And I talked to a guy, shout out Chauncey Bender. I talked to a real good friend of mine, call him my big brother now. We worked together in the restaurant, and I said, hey, man, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some kids that don't got shit going on.
Yeah.
I don't want nobody that's on the football team or basketball team or soccer team. And I'm looking for the what people consider the worst kids.
Yeah.
Just the baddest kids in the city. I want to coach. If I'm a coach, I want to coach a real one. You know what I mean? And he said, I know them kids.
Yeah.
And I said, no, for real, man. I was like,
turn a negative to a positive.
Yeah, I was gonna take the worst and see if I couldn't coach somebody like that. And he told me, he said, I got 3 of them for you, bro. And I said, what's their names? He said, Man, Juicy, and Lil T. And I had never. Black people got these nicknames, right? Everybody got a nickname. Peanut, Lil T. White people don't have, in white culture, they don't have those same nicknames. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
So as soon as I heard the nickname Man and Juicy and Lil T, I said, hold up, bro. I said, where they at? I said, I need to meet this man and Juicy, Lil T. I need to meet him. You know, he said, come down here to Cable Baptist Church. They play basketball on Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm.
And this was Monday. So all day Tuesday, I'm thinking about what am I say to these kids? You know what I'm saying? And I go down there, and Juicy wasn't playing, but Man Lil T was playing. And they were hustling. They were playing. And, you know, they were running in a little scrimmage or whatever. And I talked to Man. I went up to him. I said, you know, I like you. They let me sit on the bench as they was playing the game. Chauncey was coaching. And timeout came over. I said, I like you. I said, but, you know, can you jump? And he said, yeah. I said, I want to see you get a rebound. Let me see you get a rebound. So the very next play, he comes running down the court. He jumps over a dude, knocks everybody down, and gets the rebound, right? He's out of control. He gets the over-the-back foul, you know. But in my mind, I'm thinking, this guy listens, right? And he's showing me some qualities that you can take in sports. If you got a guy that's aggressive, you got a guy that will try something when you suggest it. So the game ends or whatever, and he comes and we're sitting there talking, and he looks at me and says, I want you to be my coach. That's what he tells. That's what Man tells me. And he's at the time 11 years old. Juicy's 9. And I said, yeah. I said, actually, that's why I'm here. I said, but I don't coach basketball. I said, I coach boxing. And his eyes kind of lit up. I said, can you fight? He said, yeah, I can fight.
Yeah.
I said, well, then I want to teach you how to box. And start picking him up. Little T is actually his god brother. They were orphaned as kids. When I met them, they were living with their aunt named Quita. Yeah. And then shout out to Quita. She's a good woman. China is actually their cousin. China was on the show previously.
Yeah. Shout out to China.
China's their cousin.
That's one of our biggest episodes, yeah.
Yeah. China is their cousin. But they all lived together after their mother had passed away. So when I met them, they lived with China. Yeah. So they told me, yeah, it's my sister, whatever. And then I started understanding the dynamic of how they got in that situation. You know? Yeah. So their father was incarcerated for a period of time, and their mother had passed away, and they were living with relative placement over there with China, and Lil T is China's brother. And so they was just a whole group of young kids. And as soon as I seen them, I was like, man, these kids got some talent, dude. And I started building a boxing program around Man. And then about a year and a half later, Juicy joined the team. And they ended up both becoming amateur champions, Golden Gloves champions. Both of them won biggest amateur boxing tournament in the world at the time called the Ringside World Championships. Really? No shit. Demontaze. Man kind of phased out of the boxing. Life started catching up. He started having to work and pay bills. So he helps coach now. He's still one of the trainers on a professional venture that I have now called the Superstars of Boxing. And Demontaze went on to become the #1 amateur fighter from in the whole United States. He was on Team USA.
#1 in the country?
Yeah, #1 in the country.
Oh man,
he laying these guys out. And I turned him professional during the COVID-19 as an 18-year-old. Now he's 21 years old, and he's regarded as one of the top boxing prospects in the world.
There we go. Bring it back home, man. So what drew you to boxing? Let's get it. What drew you to boxing, the love, and what keeps you going? Like what?
My brother got me into the sport.
Talk to the mic, huh?
My brother got me into the sport. I kept getting in trouble in school. He said, come to practice with me. I said, all right. The first time I came to practice, I actually got kicked off the team. He let me come to a fight.
How'd you get kicked off the team? You can't.
I started spray painting his fans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Then I got kicked off the team. Then he let me go to my brother's fight. And while he was coaching, I pulled him off the ropes and said, hey, when am I gonna be able to fight? He said, you gotta get away from me, little kid. And then I said,
yeah, he was out of control. Yeah, he didn't have any self-control. You know what I mean? And that was something that early on he struggled with, was needing attention, right? And it was difficult initially, but he's got a real charismatic personality, so you gravitate towards him. You know what I mean? But it was frustrating, man. You be trying to do boxing practice, and this dude, you look up and you're like, where's Juicy at? And you go outside, and he's got a spray can, and he's spray painting your wooden fence that you just built. You know what I mean? You're like, bro, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he, but he ended up biting down and sticking with it. And I think for him, it's therapy, right? And a lot of times people are misunderstood, especially some of these young people that are dealt with trauma as kids.
Yeah.
That they're going through something traumatic, and his lifestyle and his living situation is not really conducive to being productive in school. You got to fight, and you hungry, and you got a situation where another family has to take you in, and they're already struggling themselves. You know what I mean? So I was really fortunate, and it's been a big privilege to see him make the adjustments in his life and pretty much go, I ain't gonna say it's a 180, but it was definitely a complete change of direction from maybe what the trajectory of what you would have thought his life would have became. You know what I mean? I don't know what he would have became, but I know that what he is now is very respectful, and he's very respected, you know. And that's one thing that sports has given him, is the opportunity to showcase something that's really buried deep inside of him, and that's his ability to fight. You know what I mean? So dude can get down.
Number one, you said number one in the country.
He's a number.
That don't come light.
One amateur in the country.
So how did you, when you found that out, like how was you feeling? Like how was you like? Did you get a call, or did you, how did that process? You found out you was a number one amateur in the. Like,
well, he was ranked. So we went to. There's a process that you got to get ranked, right? And you got to go to certain tournaments. You get points for every tournament. The better you place in the tournament, the more points you get. So he got
kind of like AAU in basketball.
Similar concept. So they rank all different athletes. He got points. He was just a couple points shy of the number one ranked guy, right? And he had split matches with the number one ranked guy. They went 1-1. So he was the other dude was number one, he was number two. So the other guy timed out and turned professional, and then points-wise, he moved up to number one.
Okay.
But the guy that he fought and beat was the number one ranked fighter in America, which gave him enough points to be ranked number two, the number one guy, even though he just beat him.
Who was that?
His name is Amari Jones from Oakland, California.
Okay, I ain't even heard of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, he's cold.
He is?
Yeah, he's cold.
All right, so we fought twice. The first fight I got him. The second fight he got me.
Like, was it your toughest fight? Like, kind of like
by far the toughest fight.
like kind of like talk to the tip of the microphone. Yeah, like there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was by far the toughest fight. He's a great fighter.
So why was he the toughest? Was it like a matchup? Did he hit hard? Or was he hard to hit? How was he?
Honestly, he had everything. For real.
He had the total package, huh?
He had a total package. He make you think a lot. His movement was amazing. So.
Okay, and your last fight, you fought her, didn't you? You fought out in Shelbyville, didn't you? Was it
I fought down in fought at the Delta Center down in West End.
Oh, okay.
Back in April.
I think. How did that go? How was that?
We got the W.
Yeah, he won by a knockout. He had stopped a guy in the 8th round.
Really?
Got a fighter out of New York City named Deshaun Johns, and it was a tough fight. Demontaze outclassed him, beat the brakes off of him, and then eventually knocked him out in the 8th round. So,
So, is most of your wins come by KO?
All of my W's is.
Oh shit. Okay. Got a Tank Jr. here, man.
Nah, I'm a Demontaze Duncan.
There you go. It's created right. You know what I mean?
But Tank is an amazing fighter. It's actually one of my favorite fighters.
I like him too, man. I read a stat. He said he throws the lowest amount of punches of any boxer. It was in any round, like boxes per rounds. But when he hits you, you know what I mean?
He's efficient.
Yeah.
Efficient, and then he's got
everybody that fight. Terrence Crawford, Boost, and Tank is the best fighters in boxing right now, actually.
Okay. That's your top three?
Oh, yeah.
So go on, put 2 more around. Like, give me a top 5, 2 more on there.
I really don't.
You got to put Canelo in there.
Canelo's most definitely in there, but out of all the fighters, I would say Terrence Crawford and Boots Ennis is the best.
Yeah, I like Boots.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
So, just to go play up methodical right here. Are you big on Mike Tyson? Like, is Mike Tyson your type?
Mike Tyson's probably the 25th best heavyweight in the history of boxing.
I'm not big on Tyson either, man, because every person he fought that was worth fighting, he lost. Got his ass whooped.
Well, imagine boxing, pro boxing being like a game of paper, rock, scissors. Right? So you know paper beats rock every time, right? Mm-hmm. So when you match a fight, if you've got paper, you match it with rock. You win every time, right? Well, anytime he was matched with scissors, he got sliced.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So professional boxing is more matchmaking, and they put a lot of guys that would stand right in front of him, and you know,
slug it out. You know,
yeah, a lot of beat fighters, guys that had already been beaten. But I think that there's a tale of two Tysons, right? So the one that was the undisputed youngest heavyweight champion in the history of boxing, that guy is you got to put some respect on that because of how fast he ascended to the top. And then he did beat some guys on his way up. They weren't Hall of Fame quality with the exception of Larry Holmes, but he did destroy Michael Spinks, right? Mm-hmm. He did beat Trevor Berbick. He did beat Razor Ruddock. He beat some guys on his way up. But the Tyson that from 25 to 35 years old was trash. You know what I mean? And I don't think that you can dismiss that second half and just only look at the first half of his career. But the second version of Tyson was trash, bro. You
think the prison stint had anything to do with that?
Yeah, of course it did. Right? The money, the prison, the lack of training, lifestyle.
I think Gus dying too. It had.
Yeah, Customato dying definitely had a lot to do with it. They assembled an incredible team that had Customato, Kevin Rooney, Teddy Atlas. These are Hall of Fame trainers that was all on one staff training him. Mm-hmm. And then that broke up. You bring in just an unreal promoter that's about the money, right? Mm-hmm. Don King. He's just one of the best that there'll ever be as far as promotions. And Don King sold the fights. So, his job ain't to protect Mike Tyson. His job is to make money. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So he sold the fights, and it was at the cost of Mike Tyson's career, right? So, I think that he got outclassed in a lot of fights. The real big significant fights he did not win. Mm-hmm. So I can't put him in the same category as a Sonny Liston or a Jack Dempsey or a Muhammad Ali or a George Foreman. I can't put him in that category because he didn't win the big fights, man. You know what I mean?
I totally agree. Like, it's a one-trick pony, you know what I mean?
He's closer to me realistically to like a Tommy Morrison or something,
Yeah.
Where he was a big puncher, big bruiser, and he bullied everybody. But when they stood up to him, he kind of shrank in those moments, man. And that's not a knock on Mike Tyson as a person. He's had an unbelievable lifestyle. He's did more in his life than a million people combined. You know what I mean? He's traveled the world. He's just a guy. He's really just a kid from New York City that got to do all this incredible stuff. You know what I mean? And but as far as when you're talking pure boxing, you can't put him in no category with no Lennox Lewis or Muhammad Ali and no guys like that, man. He don't deserve that.
Okay. So who's y'all greatest of all time? Who's y'all go Muhammad Ali?
Yeah,
Muhammad Ali.
Multiple reasons for Muhammad Ali. Number one, the skills, right? Mm-hmm. He showcased a certain level of skill set that no athlete has ever showcased on that platform, right? Mm-hmm. The biggest stage of the world. He was the biggest, fastest, strongest, smartest, most handsome, most prepared fighter, athlete that there's ever been on the big stage. And he created that stage.
Yeah.
So you got to put him in there as the number one guy. Hung around boxing too long, but even in his when he took him L's, he took it like a man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He never went out like no punk. You know what I mean? He took his beatings even when he took a loss.
Yeah.
So, but if you look at the adversity that he had to go through during like just knowing Louisville and the Louisville that I grew up in and Louisville you grew up in, Louisville at one time was just a black and white city, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this, he just died a couple years ago, but he went to segregated schools.
Yeah.
To think that he didn't even go to school with white people.
Mm-hmm.
Went to segregated schools. School system was segregated up until 1956. He won the Olympic gold medal in 59, right? So just to think that somebody deals with that type of adversity in their own community and to overcome that and rise to become a great champion and a champion of the people, you got to respect that.
I like what he said. He said why the number one reason why he's because you said many reasons why he's a GOAT. And what did you say the reason? Because what he stood up for. He said like what he stood up for.
Look at what he stands up for. Look, not and then look at who he stood up against.
Right, he stood up against the government. Yeah,
he stood up against Uncle Sam. He stood up against and I think that one thing that people probably don't talk as much about, but like he stood up in 1966. Muhammad Ali was presented from Bob Arum. Bob Arum's a Hall of Fame trainer, owner of Top Rank Boxing. Mm-hmm. Bob Arum went to all of the top boxers and all of the top athletes in the world, Jim Brown, all these guys. And Ali's talking against it. He's talking out on the war. So they go to him and they're talking about they're going to kick him out of boxing, they're going to strip him, blah, blah, blah. Bob Arum negotiates a deal with the government that if Muhammad Ali is to make some exhibitions, talk more positive about the military, that they wouldn't strip him of his title, they wouldn't put him in jail, right? So Bob Arum goes and gets some of the most significant and influential black people in that time to help persuade Muhammad Ali to take this deal, right? And in that moment, he had and it's also one of his core principles is called conviction. It's where you stand up to the pressure of others, especially your peers, and you stand on what you believe, right? And he stood there with conviction, and he didn't take the deal.
I didn't
take the deal. So then the government stripped him, banned him. He couldn't box, couldn't make no money, lost all of his money legally, paying lawyer fees, all this stuff. So and he accepted that.
Right.
So from 1967 to 1970, he wasn't allowed to box. That was from the time he was 26 to 29 years old. This was going to be this man's prime. And for someone to walk away from a luxurious lifestyle and not take a deal,
right?
Not take a deal because he knew it wasn't the right deal. Right, but Jim Brown, and he told all of them, he called them all out, right? Jim Brown, Lou Alcindor, all them guys was sitting across from him, encouraging him to take this deal because he was putting so much pressure on the black community with his stance against the war, right? But with that conviction, later on, it was proven that he was right, right? And then once he was proven to be right, that's when he became the people's champ. That's when he became a man of the people. But up until 71, 72, Muhammad Ali was disliked. Right? Yeah, disliked. People didn't like him,
So you said a fight with Foreman brought him back?
Well, yeah, it definitely brought him the notoriety. George Foreman. George Foreman was the undisputed heavyweight champion and was also so Muhammad Ali in 1967 is the world champion. He beats Zora Foley. They strip him of his belts. He comes back in 1970 and Joe Frazier had cleaned up the division and becomes the champion, right? The paper champ, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Muhammad Ali is the lineal heavyweight world champion. He comes back, fights Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier beats him, right? So it's champion versus champion, but Joe Frazier's got all the belts. Joe Frazier beats Muhammad Ali, breaks his jaw, beats him, right? It's devastating. He took one fight before that. He fought a white guy, bleeds all the time. Fought him down in Atlanta. Comes back, fights Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier beats him.
Yeah.
George Foreman, who was the 1968 Olympic champion, gold medalist in the Olympics from Houston, Texas, he mops Joe Frazier, right? He's mopping everybody. He mops Joe Frazier. He mops Ken Norton. They say there's no way that a Muhammad Ali could beat this guy that just mopped the dude that beat you, right? And he made him look like a baby, right? He outboxed him, he outclassed him, and he outsmarted him, and that's probably the most significant win in the history of boxing, because what was at stake for everybody involved, right? There'll never be a fight bigger than that fight in the history of boxing. It's impossible because of what it meant for so many people. Right? A lot of people identify with Muhammad Ali.
They did.
White people, black people, Asian people. How many Vietnamese people do you think identify with Muhammad Ali when when the United States is bombing Vietnam,
right?
And he's saying this is the wrong move, right? This is the wrong play. You ain't got to kill these people, right? So he represents a collective of things outside of spiritual, outside of sports. Just his humanitarian approach to life is bigger than any athlete that there ever be, man. You know, he stood on that. You know, he's the realest athlete that there will ever be. You can't get no more.
Do you believe the conspiracy theory that they put Parkinson's on him to shut him, like to silence him later in his life?
I seen some of that. I think it was I seen some of that, but I also seen some things where he wasn't living a healthy lifestyle. He was doing some drinking and shit, and then his weight was going up and down. He wasn't doing the type of training. And from my understanding, he was taking a lot of diuretics, which are like X-Lax and stuff like that. And I think that is now the conspiracy theories talking about it is entertaining, right? But just because 1 + 1 don't always equal 2. Just because you can add them up don't mean that's how you got to 2, right? So he did have that voice, right? But I do think that taking those diuretics and dehydrating your body, and from what I know of nutrition, dehydrating your body, draining your body, trying to lose weight, and then you're out here boxing people, and then the type of sparring and type of training he was doing, you can deteriorate your body very quickly doing that. Okay. So you know, if you look at his life, if he deteriorated exponentially fast from 73 to 79.
Yeah.
But then from 80 to 2005, he was kind of the same mobility, the same thoughts, where once he wasn't boxing no more, the deterioration slowed down significantly, right? So maybe they quit giving him whatever the conspiracy was, or maybe it was the boxing that was putting that on him. You know what I mean? Boxing's not a healthy sport, bro. You know,
it ain't.
Nah, it's a horrible sport, and I train fighters, and if you don't do it safely and you do too much boxing, you can really cook your goose. Yeah, you can cook your goose. It's like putting somebody in boiling water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're gonna cook. You know.
That's why I got so much love and admiration for Floyd Mayweather, because he made a killing, and he ain't took with 6 good punches his whole career. You know what I mean? A lot of people say he runs, but that's the part. That's boxing. Make him miss and make him pay. You know what I mean? And
I would think that with Floyd, and you don't see the effects right now, but a lot of times those effects come later in life, right? Yeah. And it does appear that he's got all his faculties and he's still smart and he still can do a lot of shit. But you can believe boxing done took a piece of Floyd Mayweather. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Yeah, he appears and he sells it as that, but Floyd Mayweather's a dog. He been in some real dog. He been in there. So in some of them matches, he got away with boxing clean, but Floyd Mayweather gets that work in. He don't run from nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? He that style that he did employed later on in boxing was kind of a kind of corny.
What's that? Like
Just that running, that
Yeah.
sticking and moving.
Uh-huh.
He's just so much faster and could outclass people with that. Made for some boring fights. But as far as what I know of boxing and what I've heard, Floyd Mayweather gets that in. He'll beat the brakes off a motherfucker in the gym.
Do you ever felt like he lost a fight? Like you watched the fight, like damn, they gave it to him on the.
He ain't losing on them fights.
You don't think so? At first, Madonna fight.
Nah, he ain't won all them fights.
At first one.
Nah, he ain't losing on them fights.
Oh man, you don't think so? He was tagging him though.
Listen, man, you gotta whoop somebody.
Uh-huh.
You can't get in there and because you fought back or you had some moments where you did good. He's a lineal world champion.
Yeah.
You can't get in there and because you hit him with a couple punches, say you won the fight. You gotta whoop his ass.
Right.
The Castillo fight, the first one. There was an argument to be made that he got outpointed in that fight and out-hustled in that fight. And he had some close fights. You know, he was in some dog fights. Dude had 50 pro fights.
Uh-huh.
You know, but as far as somebody beating him, nah, nobody beat that dude.
Right.
Yeah, nobody beat him. They fought back. They did all right. You know, they represented and they held it up. They held it down, but they didn't beat Floyd Mayweather.
No, because he gave Madonna that second fight. He usually don't give you a second fight. He gave him a second.
Yeah.
It wasn't close that second fight.
Yeah,
he made the right adjustments, but that first one, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, Madonna was on his ass, but you know they didn't beat none of them dudes beat him.
So what do y'all think about Adrian Broner, man? Y'all
He's a beast.
you think so?
Yeah, Adrian.
I like him.
Shout out to Adrian Broner, man. We know Adrian. We've known him for years now.
Oh really? Okay.
One of my close coaching friends was a guy that trained him and raised him named Michael Stafford. Mike passed away last year.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian is a guy that was kind of like a lightning in a bottle.
Right.
And you know, but let's talk about Adrian Broner real quick because it's easy to see the guy now and look at all of his mistakes and look at the lifestyle and judge him for all this stuff. But let's really get down to the business of it. He's a 4-division world champion.
Yeah.
Right.
He is.
He's from a very impoverished area in Cincinnati, Ohio. He was able to live a lifestyle that we all dream of. Right. I know personally that he's helped thousands of kids. He's helped multiple families. Is he reckless with his lifestyle? Yeah, but who am I to judge that man? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Is he the fighter that he once was? No. But can he fight? Hell yeah. He can get down still.
Yeah, he can.
Yeah, Adrian Broner can still get down. So he's supposed to fight here in a week. We'll see what he really looks like. But, nah, man, Adrian Broner is that man, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
His career kind of went south, right?
Yeah.
But as far as fighting and his ability, nah, he's cold, bro. Yeah.
So what would you say, like, what were some of the factors, like, because he lost a couple fights. He was, 3, 4 in a row?
Drinking, smoking, partying, putting people on, being young.
Just mistakes.
23, 24 years old, you done made
making the wrong choices.
a kid that comes from
Right.
no money, all of a sudden he's got $10, $20 million. He lived it up, you know what I mean? But,
Can't cheat the grind,
look, the sport is so hard, bro.
Mm-hmm.
They're out here for really fighting. They're really out here to get prepared for a world title fight. It's not a football game. It's not a basketball game. It's people really get in there and lose their life. I've seen guys get just annihilated in a boxing gym.
Right.
And they're never the same. You know what I'm saying? So has boxing probably slowed him down a little bit? I'm sure it has. Has he made some choices with his lifestyle that kind of hurt? I'm sure he has. But, I mean, that dude was four-time world champion.
Yeah.
Best in the world in 4 divisions.
Yeah.
4 divisions. That's unbelievable, man. Especially when at 17, 18 years old, he was locked up in prison facing 20 years.
Really?
They let him out. He did 2 years, and they let him out. And he had robbed a woman, and he got a 20-year sentence. And he got out of prison, and since then he's been out of prison. He went back to prison, and he went on to win 4 world titles. Not everybody walks got the same path in life, but I ain't gonna trade my life for nobody like that for what he had to do. But dude's a real guy, bro. Adrian he's a real one, bro. And he makes a lot of mistakes, and it's easy to judge him. But he gets down, bro. He can fight.
Because I know at 22, 21, if I had $20, $30 million, ain't no telling what type of stuff. You know what I mean? What I would have got into.
What's your thoughts on Broner?
I don't know. As far as, I don't think I ain't gonna say he got too much heart, but I didn't see like a couple fights. He get hit a couple times, and he just.
That was make fights though.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't.
Yeah, I mean, look at the people he's fighting though. He fight Manny Pacquiao. He's fighting. He fought Marcos Madonna. You know what I'm saying? He fought some real dogs.
He fought some dogs, yeah.
He ain't ducked no smoke. He fought Sean Porter.
Yeah.
Porter kind of was a little too big for him, but he didn't really duck people, man. He had to do it the hard way, and if you do 40 professional fights and you lose a couple fights, and you're fighting this caliber of fighter, it ain't really that big of a deal, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When you get to 30, 40, his career is kind of like a parallel, similar to what we was talking about with Mike Tyson. Do I think he's an all-time great? I don't think he's an all-time great. I don't think that he had the career longevity to be put in that category. But the first half of his career, unbelievable. Just like very similar to Mike Tyson. Unbelievable that a guy rose to superstardom that quick. He fought when they turned him pro. He fought 15 times in 1 year.
Really? Damn.
His rise to the top was paralleled by only a few other fighters that I've seen in the history.
15 pro fights in 1 year?
1 year. He was dusting people, dogging them. So they ran him quick. He didn't have the longevity as a champion. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But as far as what he is as a fighter, you can't take it. You can't take no credit from that guy.
While I'm at it, make sure you follow us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, we on everything, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, everything, Twitter. Follow us, Big and Lazy Pod. Subscribe. We almost at 500, so we need all the subscribers and love. If you see this, share it, like it, comment. But we usually ask, we have artists on here, and we ask them, who would you want to work with? So I'm going to ask you as a fighter, who would you want to train with or spar with? Who would be your dream,
Boots Ennis.
Okay.
That's amazing.
That's what's up. He got a fight coming up too, don't he? He just had one?
No, he fights.
Yeah,
Cody Crawley for Boots Ennis is the IBF world champion. Demontaze is actually, we went up to Philadelphia and we did work with him. We got to boxing. And that was about 2 years ago. He's probably one of the most talented fighters. He is the most talented fighter that I've seen in this era. But he don't have the popularity in mainstream sports that a lot of other athletes has. But he's the real McCoy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And Demontaze got an opportunity to boxing. We're probably gonna go back up there at some point and work with him again. But as far as an athlete having everything, at that time I was extremely impressed with his skill set, his athleticism, his professionalism, his demeanor. His dad's a world-class coach, and they are really about that. So, shout out Boots Ennis in Philadelphia.
So, you say shout out to Philadelphia. So, what city would y'all think produces the best boxers?
The best boxers in Philadelphia.
You say Philadelphia too?
Yeah, Philadelphia and at one time Cincinnati.
Yeah, okay. Cincinnati's taking they're on a little roller coaster right now. They're kind of down a little bit, but they've definitely produced some of the best fighters. You know, I mean, you look at all these major cities, the same ones that historically have been the best: Detroit, Philadelphia, New York, D.C. They come out of D.C., Miami, L.A. A lot of guys moved to Las Vegas, but they're a little bit softer, them type of Las Vegas fighters. And I hope they're listening because they know what happened last time we was in Vegas. They got touched up. But some of the more.
So you said the Vegas fighters are soft? You said
they soft. They
light work, huh?
Yeah, they didn't show us nothing.
Oh, okay.
Demontaze was putting them on their ass.
There you go. He just smiled there.
Yeah.
So, because B-Hop was my favorite. Growing up as a teen, B-Hop was my favorite.
Yeah.
Favorite boxer, man. It hurt my heart when he lost to Jermaine Taylor. I almost. Yeah. I thought. Yeah, I hurt my heart, man. I almost cried. That was my
great fighter.
Yeah, he was. That was a good fight right there.
And he was just another guy out of Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? There's all kind of fighters like that come out of Philly. They got gym fighters up there, guys that you would never even hear of that are just, you go to the gym and see them fight, you be like, wow, who is this? They ain't nobody. You know what I'm saying? They got so many people that can fight and box. Bro, we go to Cincinnati and box. And a lot of times the fighters, timing is always really important for a fighter. So if a guy's really good as an amateur and they turn pro and they get stalled out, they don't get the fights, don't get the opportunities, they'll go to the streets or they'll go get a job or they'll move on in life. They'll kind of give up on boxing, right? So I've seen guys in Cincinnati walk in the gym and be wearing Timberlands or boots and blue jeans and shit, and start arguing with somebody that they ain't seen in years because, like, say the guy at Timberland's been in jail, right?
Yeah.
So they'll see somebody and the guy in the ring, they done whooped him since he was a kid, and they're like, you whooped, whoop, whoop, whoop. And I seen them arguing one day, and I was like, what is this? And I'm sitting there watching the dude get in there with blue jeans and Timberlands on, and just be whooping everybody in the gym.
Shit. Fresh off work.
Yeah, just fresh off work release. You know what I'm saying? Fresh out the halfway house, and then you be like, what is going on, man? But they've just produced so many fighters. They just got an unbelievable system with older coaches that are really talented. And I think that's one reason why the boxing in Louisville fell off so bad is that all of the older coaches had passed away, right? Without ever creating like a protege, right? So all the older guys died, and then there was no boxing, right? So you got guys like myself or some of these other guys that all kind of got into the game same time that didn't really have mentors that could show them. Like imagine how much a 75-year-old man that's coached boxing for 50 years.
Right.
Imagine how much they know and how much they've seen, right? How much experience they have, right? So when those type of people die, you lose a whole generation or multiple generations of information and knowledge. You know what I mean?
Right,
The teachers, there's not been any teachers in Louisville. There's trainers, there's coaches, but there's not been any real boxing teachers. Like these guys that you see them. And there's some in basketball, like these old men that be at the community center, and you're like, man, who's that? And they go, oh man, he used to cook back in the day, and they can still show the players the game or how to play the game or what the game's really about. You don't have that. You don't have that in Louisville no more, right? You got a bunch of wannabes. And some of these guys are, not everybody's a wannabe, but you got a lot of wannabes and you got some guys that are really good, but you still don't have that upper echelon of guys that have already done it. So everybody here is on the rise trying to get there. But just imagine if you had a teacher that's already won world championships that can teach you and show you how to do it, how much easier your path would be to get there, right?
Right.
So you wouldn't have to go to Philadelphia to train. You wouldn't have to go to Miami to train. I've taken this guy for training, just for training. Philadelphia, Miami, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Detroit, Chicago, New York, Las Vegas 5 times,
Houston.
Back to Miami, Houston, Texas. All these places just to get opportunities to box upper echelon people. He's one of the younger fighters from Kentucky, right? He's ran through everybody here. right? And they'll watch the video, they'll hear what I say, and they won't mention his name, right? Because it may feel some type of way, but they can't even give him no work.
Right.
And there's guys here, and I'm not suggesting that there's not good fighters here. I'm suggesting that there's not the quality of work. They can't give you the work that you need to become a world champion. So it's not uncommon for us to have to team up with other teams and travel and try to find opportunities to work, right? And let's say that there is 2 or 3 guys that can give you some work. Well, how many times do you think that running them guys or my guy against these guys every day, right? That's not going to be effective over a long period of time. So you can only box somebody once a month, once every couple weeks, because they're going to take the same damage that you're taking, right? So you got to go find different sparring just in different areas. There's not even enough sparring here, right? It's unfortunate, and that people don't want to hear that, but the standards got to increase,
right?
You know? People are happy being Instagram boxers. They're happy posting a little video where they pity pat on the bag, and
it's funny you say that because I know somebody.
No, they do it all the time.
Does that? Like,
yeah, I know them too. I guarantee you I know them. You know, and I ain't trying to discredit them. You know, maybe they get a girlfriend off that shit. You know what I mean? Maybe they get some likes or something. You know, maybe they can pay their bills with all them likes that they get.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think you can pay no bills with clout. I don't think you can pay no bills with all your little Facebook likes. So to me, it seems corny, especially when I've seen them. And you know what they're really about. You know, so whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So So what's next for you, man? Like what you got up like in the
Right now we just training.
Just training? You ain't got no fights lined up?
Yeah, we got one lined up. We're gonna fight in September in Louisville. We're still shopping a venue, but we're gonna bring in another big fight. So we've went in a little bit different direction. In the last 2 fights, we started our own promotional company. We got a couple other partners involved with that, and we started our own promotional company called the Superstars of Boxing. If you get on the internet, you can check it out on YouTube, Superstars of Boxing. You can follow us on Facebook, or I'm mostly on Facebook. I'm a little bit older, but he likes the Instagram and all that shit. And you can follow us on something like that, or you can follow the Big and Lazy podcast and maybe see some updates. But we're gonna run another event in September, and then we're gonna come back with one in November as well. So hopefully he'll fight 2 more times here in Louisville. He's ready for an opportunity to fight for basically like a like let's say that you're wanting to be the WBC champion. Well, they've got belts that are under that, like the NABF or junior champions. So he's in a position to be able to fight for one of those belts. So hopefully we can bring like a junior championship fight here to Louisville, where he could go. They got 4 main world championships, right? And just so people understand boxing, they're like a league. So when you hear WBC, that's like being a part of a league. Right? IBF is a league. So you apply to one of these leagues, and then from there they give you a fighter to fight, and then you move up the rankings, and then if you move up high enough, you move into contender status. He's in what's called prospect status right now.
Right.
If he wins about 4 more fights, he'll move into a contender status, and then he'll be eligible to fight for a world championship. But right now he needs 3 or 4 fights at what you call prospect versus prospect, right? Or prospect versus journeyman, right? Like guys where I can get him some fights and some experience with guys that have 25 fights that might be former world champions. 2 fights ago, he beat the former WBC silver champion, the guy out of Cincinnati that was 13-2, and he stopped him in the 4th round. So for Demontaze Duncan, moving forward, every fight becomes a little bit tougher, a little bit higher stakes, and if he's able to progress and he's able to continue on his journey, he could have an opportunity to fight for a world title in about 4 years.
Oh, okay.
3.5, 4 years.
I was just about to ask you, like, where do you see yourself in the next fight? So you just answered that question.
So he needs to fight. He'll fight 2 more times this year. That'll be 3 fights in 2024. He'll fight 3 times in 2025. He'll fight 3 times in 2026. And then from there, he should have opportunity to be to fight in an elimination fight or a contender fight. So he's about 7 fights away, 8 fights away. You know, he's 11 fights in. If he's able to be flawless in his next 7 or 8 fights, he'll be in a very lucrative position.
Okay, and you got 1 loss under your belt, great. Like,
Yeah.
If you want to talk about that, like,
Yeah, okay.
Like-
the losses is what you learn from the most.
Yeah. So I'll explain to you. I've been his coach and business partner since he started boxing, and what we did was we took a pretty big risk, right?
yeah,
And the objective of the risk was he was young, he was 20 years old, and I'd gotten him to 8 wins. And we had an opportunity to take a fight on basically a second tier network, which is called ProBox TV. So you got ESPN, ABC, and all that shit.
Yeah.
Then you got another level called with ProBox TV, DAZN, and all these other apps. So we took a fight on this app, and it was a prospect versus prospect fight. And if he wins that fight, that basically catapults him into almost a contender status, and he wasn't even 10 fights in, right?
right.
The fight was a very difficult fight. It came up short in the bout, right? Here's what sucks about it is it's a blemish on your record. You got to take a step back. You got to retool, right? You get to evaluate what your weaknesses are and who you really are as a fighter. So that sucked. Seeing all of the people trolling us, talking shit, the haters. A lot of guys don't even got the balls to take a real fight, much less a fight of that magnitude or that caliber fighter. So we took that fight, and didn't work out, right? Demontaze had to take the loss. You know what I'm saying? I don't fight, right? He had to eat that. He had to see everybody talk shit, everybody run their mouth, everybody want to talk about it, which is something that you learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about others, and it's an experience that you really don't want to go through. I understand why a lot of these cornballs don't take no real fights. It's devastating. But from that experience, if he would have won, it would have sent us on a trajectory to probably be fighting on ESPN right now. So we rolled the dice and took a big fight. Didn't work out. We came back. So then on the rebound fight, a lot of people would never do this. I put him in there with a better fighter. I said, actually, you're going to box William Jackson, former amateur world champion, right? WBC silver champion, right? One of the highest regarded fighters ever to come out of Cincinnati as an amateur, higher than Adrian Broner, right?
Yeah.
William Action Jackson, unbelievable fighter. I said, you're gonna box William Jackson on a rebound fight. William Jackson came to the fight 13-2, had never been stopped. People said, well, why, what you doing? What you doing, man? It's another bad matchup. But I put him in that fight so Demontaze could answer his own questions and his own doubts about himself. Right. He needed closure on who he really is. He stopped William Jackson in the 4th round. This is a fighter. Man. This is a fighter that never been stopped before. 15 professional fights, over 200 amateur fights, never been stopped. Demontaze Duncan knocked him out.
Right. That's what's up, man.
So with that, he answered a big question about himself, right? What people say don't matter. It's what you think of what you are, right? It's how you feel about yourself. So I put him in another tough fight, and he rose to the occasion. He did what he had to do, sold out the crowd, ran the promotion. It was his promotion. Demontaze Duncan is the one behind the scenes doing all the shit, right?
Right.
I put my name on it. I got to do all the paperwork. But like I said, this is my business partner. we own the boxing ring. Every fighter in Louisville, every single one of them has benefited from Demontaze Duncan.
Really?
As an amateur, his popularity was so high that whenever we would sell out the crowd, we would sell our shows out, we took the money and went and bought a boxing ring.
Yeah.
That allowed us to put on more amateur shows. So every one of these people have fought on his undercard or has gotten built up. Even the guy you're talking about that does the Instagram likes and pity pat or whatever, he wouldn't even be boxing. No, real shit. He wouldn't even be boxing if it wasn't for Demontaze Duncan. Yeah, and he might not know that, but I know that because I know that he's provided all these opportunities, right? He'll sell the whole show out. He'll bring the whole crowd. We did a show. He fought on Tuesday night at the Henry Clay.
Yeah.
On a Tuesday night boxing event. The only fighter from Louisville. The whole place was sold out.
Really?
Yeah. They're going to do some fights in Shelbyville. Shout out Troy Esker's last boxing promotion. They're going to have 4 or 5 guys from Louisville. They might get 200 people there. You know what I mean? Man, ain't no knock. Yeah. That's a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? But, just being real, some people be doing this boxing shit and they don't put no respect on nothing. You know what I mean? But we're on the podcast. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole point. Put it out here. I ain't got to get on here and be like, yeah, buddy, everybody doing a good job. Everybody keep working hard. Everybody in Louisville going to come up together. We doing a good job, buddy. We need to all work together. Now, fuck all that.
Right.
That's corny. Right? Up your standards. Step the game up. Try harder. You know what I mean? If we are all stuck in this one spot and you ain't seeing nothing moving, you ain't seeing the next question you probably ask, well, when's the big fight's gonna come here? When the big fight's gonna come here? They ain't gonna come here. Because ain't nobody doing nothing new. They're gonna go right back and do the same thing they did yesterday. And until you're honest with yourself and say, how do we get to this next level? Right? How do we get to this next level without hating on somebody, without saying, oh, this guy ain't this or this guy ain't that? How can you be honest and say, how can we get to this next level? Man, they don't want to do nothing different. They want to do the same thing.
Keep doing the same thing, you keep the same results, man.
And you're insane doing that, right? That's what they say insanity is. Just do the same thing, expect different results. You're a fool. You know. So if you keep doing the same thing, you do the same workout, expect the same results, bro, until you step your game up and you really put more time into it, or you're honest about where you are or the people that can help you, and you let go of your ego, right? Some of these guys got to let go of their ego. They ain't going nowhere. They're going to be stuck doing the same bullshit. You know what I mean?
I'm going to ask you, does fighting in Louisville, like, with the home crowd, like, does that give you an extra, extra boost or extra,
Honestly, no.
You know?
And the only reason being is because none of the people in the stands is in the ring. Like, at the end of the day, I'm the person in the ring that got to go through anything. Like, I'm the one taking the punches and giving the punches. You could cheer, but I'm not going to hurt you. I got to focus on the person in the ring.
There you go.
So, honestly, I don't hurt them.
So when you're in the ring, you just, like, not in a trance, but you zoned in on the opponent or what you got on the task at hand. That's dope.
The advantages of fighting at home, you get to finish out your camp, right? You're not doing a weight cut in a hotel room. There are some familiar faces, right? You know the announcer, you know some of the ring girls, you're seeing familiar people at the fights, right? It's not just all foreign to you. And then you get to sleep in your own bed before the fight, right?
Yeah.
So there's a level of comfort, there's a level of home cooking that you get fighting at home. So there's advantages. He may not, in the ring, may not understand the advantages, but as a promoter or as a coach, there's definitely some huge advantages. Like we got to one fight, we got to the fights, and I'm going through all my shit, right? I'm sitting there going through all my shit, and I was like, where's this robe at? We come out in the robe, and look at man, I'm like, man, you get the robe? Nah, man, you get the robe. Look at Sean, you get the robe now. So then I just go get in the car and drive back home and get the robe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's a huge advantage.
Right.
You get up to Detroit, Michigan, and you ain't got nothing to stop bleeding, or you ain't got no napkins or ice bags or Q-tips, whatever you need. You're at a disadvantage, dog. So you get a big advantage by fighting at home. He may not see it in the ring, But you know, it feels good seeing your friends and family and supporters come out and support. You know, and one thing that I will say that Demontaze has been privileged to have is that he does got a lot of fans.
Mm-hmm.
He does got a lot. He does mean something to people here in Louisville, and he should. When we're talking about youth, and there's always this elephant in the room that is race, right? One thing that I think Demontaze Duncan is extraordinarily gifted at is what you call black excellence, right? He has no blemishes on his character, right? You ain't gonna hear somebody say, "Man, I was around that dude and he was really a jerk. He really like that." You know what I'm saying? When you see him, he is charismatic. He is caring. He does help kids. He does go read books to kids. I'm sitting at the crib. We live together, and he brings a bunch of nieces and nephews over to the crib, right? You know, and they're not my nieces and nephews. You know, I'm kind of their uncle or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But he bringing them over. They playing kickball and all kinds of shit in the living room and everything. And I'm like, this guy really is like a champion of kids. You know what I mean? He really is the guy that people should look up to. That when you say, what's this guy really about? He really is about that. He really did walk that walk. And for the boxers that are pretenders that want to be a Demontaze Duncan or want the attention or the clout, maybe they should understand a little bit differently the path that he's had to walk to get there, right?
Right.
Imagine, I grew up privileged family, got mom and dad, great mom and dad. Grew up in a house. You know, I grew up in the West End. We had a house, backyard. We had a swimming pool and this motherfucker and everything. And so for me as a kid, I got to play sports. I got new shoes when school started. You know, I always had food and shit. You know, a couple hard times where maybe the lights got cut off or something. But wasn't no growing up in the projects. Your mother passes away. Your family's living in poverty. You're kicked out of school as elementary school, right? You got to walk this walk that if you're a young black man, you make one misstep and you out of here, homie.
Yeah.
Right? Is that true?
Yeah.
You're black. Is that true?
Yeah.
You fuck up one time, you out of here, right?
Yeah.
And people gonna hold you to that, right?
Right.
So this is a young man that not only wasn't dealt a full deck, but he played it like he had a royal flush, right? He graduated with honors. He was all-state tennis, all-state wrestling.
You play tennis?
He all-American in boxing.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? He's all-American in boxing. This is a kid that grew up in foster care. This is a kid, when I met him, they had him on medication and shit.
Right.
I asked the doctor. I went and became his guardian. Took him to the doctor. I said, so what's going on with this? You got him on all this medicine shit. She said, well, I gave him these evaluations, this and that, you know. I said, lady, you got him over here like he's disabled.
Right. Because I was the same way.
And we're going to get to that.
Yeah.
I said, what are you talking about? I said, talk to this guy. This guy ain't nothing wrong with this guy. This guy's dealing with trauma. This dude needs a hug. You know what I'm saying? This dude needs somebody to tell him that they believe in him, that they care for him. And I'm a big advocate for Demontaze Duncan. I'm gonna be his voice, right? I see a lot of haters and a lot of people want to tear him down. And there's a lot of people that want to build him up. But I'm not gonna allow for that moment to be what it becomes his path. I'm gonna take him and say, you know what? If I gotta go on the Big and Lazy podcast and tell this dude's story again, I'll tell it again. Because there may not be somebody that's heard it, right?
Right.
And when you do hear it, and then you do see him fight, and you do say, well, wait a second, he's like me. He's one of us. Right. He's like me and you. He's ours, right? He's our champion.
Right.
Why ain't we backing him? Why ain't these suckers backing him?
Right.
All these suckers out here that's hating. Why ain't they getting behind Demontaze Duncan?
I don't know, man. Maybe they see the intimidation. But to touch on the fact that me and my buddy used to always talk, because he played out in the Prospect League. I don't know if y'all remember the Prospect League. He played for the Lobos.
This is football.
Football. And I played for the California Jets. And we always talked about who had better talent, but he would judge the talent on, I guess you can't success in high school and maybe a little college, but like where I'm from, bro, like once these kids got out in high school,
You're from Parkland. You're from
32nd and Garland. I grew up down there.
You're from Victory Park, I guess, right? Is that right?
I'm not. I'm 32nd and Garland. It's a little
2 blocks away. All right.
Yeah, about 5 blocks away. But like,
yeah.
And I always just say, bro, like we got more talent, but once a lot of these kids got to high school,
nobody developing it.
Yeah, they took a different, with the streets.
There ain't no mentors, ain't no development.
Right.
There ain't nothing. Nobody pushing them. Ain't nobody building them up. Nobody's
exactly.
Nobody's backing them. Nobody's standing. Nobody's standing on it. Nobody's saying. Nobody's saying that. Nah, this kid here is the best.
Right.
This is the best. Right. This is the best we got. And people give me a lot of shit for this. They're like, what the white boy talking all this bullshit. All the time I hear this. All the time I hear this. But I don't care if somebody don't like the racial undertone of the relationship that me and Demontaze Duncan got. I don't know how to evaluate him as a black man. I'm evaluating him as a man.
Right.
Bro, this is the best. This is the best we got in this city. Right?
You got in the country. You said number one amateur.
Yeah, he's the number one amateur in America, right? This is the best that we can offer. People have to evaluate why they ain't backing that, right? One coach in Louisville, very accomplished coach, did some big shows here in Louisville. He told me that one problem I got is that I call Demontaze Duncan the West End champ, and that the white people don't want to back him because he's representing the West End. I said, well, take that shit on somewhere.
Right.
Keep your money. Keep your attorney's money. Keep your cornball bullshit going.
Right.
Don't
really say that, huh?
100%. He said that.
Oh wow.
And I'm not gonna say their name, but people can put 2 and 2 together. People say this shit and they think that it's okay to say, right?
Right.
He should be proud that he grew up in the West End.
Right.
And he had to overcome the adversity to get where he's at right now. He don't live in the West End now. He lives over in Beachmont. He lives in a nice, affluent neighborhood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he had to walk that walk, bro.
Right.
Don't nobody fucking want to live in the West End, man. That shit sucks. Bro, that's just hard as hell. You appreciate it later on.
Yeah.
But when you sitting there and you eating water soup and you eating
Jam sandwich.
yeah, that shit ain't that much fun, buddy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for the kids that do have to walk and go through that, a lot of people don't make it going through that. It's like a what do they call it? Darwin's survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of kids get chewed up in that situation. Maybe they ain't prepared for it. They don't make it to adulthood. But for a kid to go through that and then come out and he's in this situation here and you still don't want to fuck with him, you still don't want to back him, just stay away, bro.
That's clown shit, man.
Yeah, just keep your energy where you're at. You know what I mean? So dude just put the work in. I appreciate y'all giving us this opportunity to come on the podcast and talk a little shit. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
I ain't got no problem telling nobody what my perception of the truth is. You know, this is my opinion.
And to speak on his character, the first thing he said to me, he didn't say his name. He said, "Man, thank you for having me on." Like that's the first thing he said to me. Like, "Thank you for having me on the podcast." And that kind of speaks to his character right there. You know, appreciate the opportunity, and we appreciate you. Coming by, man.
Yeah, thank you. You know, Demontaze has been a lot to take in when I became his guardian. You can only imagine the responsibility that comes with taking in a teenager, right?
Right.
And I took him in, and I knew that I would have his back. And only thing I ever asked from him is to always be you and try your best, right? And if you make it as a world champion, or if you become a construction worker or whatever, I want to see the best of you, the best you can become. And I don't think people have seen it yet. I don't think they've seen the best of Demontaze Duncan yet, but they will. They will see it, and when they do see it, he gonna light their ass up. So look, check out Demontaze Duncan. Go check out his Instagram. Check out some of the knockouts. Make sure you checking out
Instagram, man.
Big and Lazy
My
podcast.
Instagram is Demontaze_Duncan.
Okay.
My name is Nicholas Bareis. You can follow me. You don't have to like nothing. You can add me as a friend and look at all of it. Add me as a friend. Look at all that shit. You don't have to hit the like button. You can talk behind my back, or when I see you, you can give me a hug, tell me you love me or whatever. But if you don't like me, I ain't worried about it. I don't like you either. And people that do love me, thank you for all that. You know,
That's how they do. They talk behind your back, but in their face, like, bro, what's up with you?
post it in your story.
Yeah.
You get 300 views. Post it on your timeline. You get 3 likes.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So don't let them fool you with the bullshit. But there's a lot of people that love us, and we love them too. But then there's also we've got this. We live in this culture where there's fantasy and reality.
Yeah.
And there's a big distortion of that right now. Where
Blurred line, ain't it?
yeah, it's blurry, very blurry, right? So you don't know what's reality, you don't know what's fantasy, and a lot of people are living in that. And for what I'm trying to do is just make it a little bit more clear, make their perspective a little more clear. You don't have to like us. That's okay. That's completely okay. You got that. That's your prerogative. You don't have to like us. But you will put some respect on it because we're not disrespectful to none of these people. And I personally don't understand it. I don't understand why you can have somebody that is excellent, somebody that is in the community, somebody that is out here working for it. Tell them what time you go to work every morning, bro.
I go to work at 4:30 in the morning.
4:30 in the morning?
Yeah, he's did that over 2 years now. Right?
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, 4:30 in the morning. And he works at the downtown YMCA. We live right by 3rd Street on the Waterston Expressway. And when we're in camp for boxing, he gets up at 3:30 and runs to work.
Hold on, you run from Beachmont to 18th and Broadway.
5.2 miles.
Oh, okay.
To 2nd and Chestnut.
I saw the 2nd and Chestnut.
He's at the Chestnut YMCA Street. And he runs from where we live at, which is 3rd and Southern Parkway, all the way 5.2 miles to work.
Wow.
At 4 o'clock in the morning, bro.
That's amazing.
So I think.
So what keeps you motivated? Like, well, I see you got what keeps you the fire going, and where would you say your work ethic comes from? Like,
If it's something that you want to do, then you got to put your mind to it. This is what I decided to do. I put my time towards it, and what's valuable to me is my time.
Okay.
So that's going to keep me going.
There you go. You don't want to waste that time. You want to. There you go. If you're gonna do something, whatever you do in life, man, to go 100%. Like you say, if you want to be a carpenter, a truck driver, whatever, to be 100. You know what I mean? 100%.
Your best.
Give
me your best, bro. Give me your best. Give me the best that you can do, and I think that he's trying his best, right? And he's working as hard as he can work, but I don't think you've seen his best. And he's just 21 years old.
Stay tuned.
And if you seen the last guy that he was hitting in that ring, if you was at the fights, we sold the crowd out, and it was a little different, right? So there was like 8 fights before his, and some really good fighters, and they was in there throwing or whatever, and then Juicy comes out, and literally, like the first 20 seconds, he touched dude on the body, bam, and you could hear it echo in the building, and people was like, ooh, you know, and so when you see him fight, it is a little different, and we do need the city to come out and support in September the superstars of boxing, Demontaze to be one of the main fighters on the show, and there'll be some other really high-profile athletes, and we're trying to feature as many people that really want to get down and do and really box, right? But it's only so many of these cupcake fights that they can do before. For the fans, it ain't real fair, right? So some guys kind of at that point in Louisville where they've had enough cupcakes, they've had enough snacks that they actually need to try being there with some beef. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, get in there with the big dogs, huh?
Yeah, get in there and take a real fight. You know, so maybe they'll do that, maybe they won't. I don't care. But you know, the fake boxing is just played out, bro.
Because I know a guy, he been posting for 8 years, and I ain't seen no, like, I guess it's old boxing clips. I don't know. I ain't seen no.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't mean to bag. He just seems like a cool guy, but he's always talking about boxing and getting back and. Okay, bro, where's it at? You know what I mean? I don't know. He's a little older though, so maybe.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all gonna run out of time at some point. So really, boxing is a young man's sport, and a lot of these guys have already timed out. Something I don't really understand is like you go through an amateur boxing system, and there's guys that are in Louisville. Ain't nothing wrong. I ain't trying to diss none of them or whatever, but you get these guys that be in their 20s, right? And they'll win some amateur boxing matches or whatever. They'll be like 25 years old, and they'll beat some teenagers, and they really think they doing something, bro. And I'm not trying to knock them as an athlete, but their perception of what they're doing and really where they're at is so off. It's kind of like imagine being a 25-year-old high school point guard. Right? You thinking you about to be the next Dewan Wheat, but you already 25 years old, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You Al Bundy, bro. Like at some point you gotta let this shit go. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And a lot of these Al Bundys, Louisville's got more Al Bundys than probably any city in America. That they can't let it go. It's like, bro, like you're 26 years old and you want to box. But boxing is really for teenagers. And just like basketball and football and all that shit, once you didn't go to college or you didn't go to the NFL, bro, you got to go get a job, bro. See if Waste Management is hiring. We need some second shift forklift drivers out here, not 30-year-old amateur boxers.
Do y'all follow, he's a basketball player, Julian Newman? He was real good as a teenager, but he was been the same height since he was like 5th grade. So he's still like 5'11". So he's like 20 now, and he's living on his time. It's over.
Yeah, he's living on when he was in 8th grade, right? Yeah. He's Al Bundy. Julian Bundy's his name. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Al Bundy's brother, Julian Bundy, Yeah,
he talks on Instagram, I want to be the best hooper under 6 feet. Dog, you didn't get not one college offer, bro. Like
it's over. It's
over. Like and then he puts these numbers up. Like, bro, you played high school for 7 years, bro. Of course you're gonna have a lot of points. You know what I mean? Like
and look, man, I think that with sports, if you are having fun and it's healthy and and you having a good time, that's cool, right? But when you become delusional and like I was telling you about some of these amateur boxers that are 25. Yeah. They're doing amateur boxing, but the world champion is 23.
Right.
In pro boxing, right? The guy that's already the world champion is 23 years old, 24 years old. Yeah. You 26-year-old doing amateur boxing, right? You got to give it a rest, bro. You know what I'm saying? You're wearing people out with all them posts and all them silly videos and shit. You know what I'm saying? You're ruining Facebook for people, man. You know what I mean?
But before we get out, I wanted to touch on something. Y'all say Ali's the GOAT, but Roy Jones Jr. is my number 2. Like, do y'all got him that high?
Oh, yeah. Roy Jones is one of my favorites.
Yeah, Roy Jones is a great fighter. I would...
yeah, he's cold.
Because he dominated for so long.
He had an exciting style. Extremely fast, could punch, won some really big fights, dominated a lot of great fighters. As far as entertainment value, he's definitely up there as one of the top fighters and funnest to watch, like a Tyson, so to speak. And later on in his career, he didn't look good, so it kind of, a lot like Ali. Like later, he looked like an old man and hung around a little too long. But yeah, he's definitely one of the most exciting fighters there's ever been. He's all-time great for sure.
Yeah, he just toyed with people so long, man.
He's unbelievable.
But this is the Big and Lazy podcast. So we always ask the guests, give us something big, something good to eat, and lazy, something good to watch.
I don't watch TV.
None at all?
No.
Okay.
But something good to eat, a good salad and some shrimp.
There you go. Is that your favorite meal? Is your go-to?
I'm a pescatarian.
What? Explain it. What's a pescatarian?
Eat seafood only.
Oh, okay. No beef, no chicken.
No, sir.
Like how long you been? Don't call me sir. I ain't that old. But how long have you been that way?
All right. So the first time I tried it, I did it for 2 years. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to do a bulk. So I started eating meats, and I recently started doing it for about 2 months now.
Okay. Like, how does it make you feel better? Does like you feel sharper? Like,
I felt better the first time I did it. I just didn't know how to do it.
oh, okay, I
Like,
got you.
I didn't know how to like cook the food, so I was just going to the store,
Mm-hmm.
going to get my fish sandwich and stuff rather than cooking it myself.
Right.
There ain't no good benefits in it. I had to learn how to like cook it myself and stuff.
Okay, I got you. Mm-hmm. What about you? Give us something good to eat and something good to watch.
Something good to watch is Jeopardy, right?
Yeah.
Make you think a little bit.
I always challenge myself, like, I'm going to get like 3.5 questions.
Yeah.
Like, I always try to.
You always, if you're watching with somebody, if you get like 2 or 3 more answers than them,
Yeah.
like you accomplish something. Nobody ever gets the final Jeopardy answer, right? They do on TV, but usually when your buddies don't ever get it. But Jeopardy's something good to stimulate your mind, make you think. Something good to eat, pumpkin pie, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people like to make the comparison, sweet potato pie, pumpkin pie. I got to go with pumpkin pie.
Yeah. That's the white coming out, man.
Yeah, that's the white coming out. But it just got some, it's just got a little bit more flavor. It just does it a little bit better, bro, than sweet potato pie, right? So, you know what I'm saying?
That's
Say what's
what's up.
on your mind, bro.
Nah, you good.
No, go ahead.
No, you good.
You was thinking something.
Nah.
What's your thoughts on pumpkin pie?
I don't really care for pumpkin pie. I ain't gonna lie. You said they comparable to sweet potato pie. I'm like, oh, man, like,
Yeah.
you ain't had one of my granny sweet potato pies.
Yeah, I would like that sometime. Appreciate that. But pumpkin pie is the something good to eat, and we'd like to give you a shout out for having us. Thank you.
I appreciate this.
This
Real
was fun,
talk.
bro. This was a good time. So
It was,
hopefully
man.
we can
Really
get some
informative.
views. Hopefully we can get some views. Make sure they're hitting the like, share, the dislike button, the heart button, whatever buttons is on.
Yeah.
And get these likes up and make some of these videos go viral. You know
Hell
what I
yeah.
mean?
Because we're going to cut it up and put clips out and shit.
Yeah,
so
put this shit
that'd be
out.
pretty good.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little shit. Because I think that I like to be honest, right? And I also like to be candid, right? So I want people to understand that I am passionate about what I do. I do youth development. I've coached kids for years now, and I try to develop their character. I try to develop their personality, and I try to help them get into I try to reinstitute them into society, right? So he was a kid that fell through the cracks. He was a kid that fell all the way through, man. And I think that we've rebuilt him into a man. And he was a broken kid, and now he's basically like a rebuild. And he's now someone that is a pillar in our community and that a lot of young people can look up to and
That's dope
identify and
right there.
relate with. You know what I'm saying? But I will also say this, that I put together a program to try to give him ways to express himself or ways to showcase his talents. He's the one that's did the work. So I'll make sure that that's clear, that if you are somebody that wants some accomplishments or you want to get closer to your dreams, you're going to have to work for it, right? And we talk about this quite a bit when he sets a goal or he has something that he wants to achieve. The only thing that's in between that goal and where he's at right now is the work that's required to get there. And if you're willing to work for something, a lot can happen for you, right? And his work ethic is unmatched, and he's put his best foot forward time and time again. And opportunities like today on this podcast are a great way for him to get his message and his name out. And we're trying to sell these tickets. We try to sell this next fight out. We're going to go to a bigger venue. We want to sell this motherfucker out and really put on for the city and let people know that it ain't just him. There's some other really talented fighters too. But that
Y'all got the flyer printed out yet? Because
not yet, but we'll get it. I'll ship it over to you, and maybe we can come back and jump on a shorter segment.
Yeah.
A little bit before the fight or something,
It's a bet. Hell
late
yeah.
summer or something.
Because it's a come out, and well, I ain't going to tell you when it's going to come out on the camera, but we pre-record, so we'll make an exception for y'all. They're
Yeah.
good peoples.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a hell of an episode. This is dope. We got informative. We got a good background. Like, this is a dope episode. So what do y'all want to say before we get out of here, man? Y'all want to shout somebody out?
Once again, I want to say thanks for having us. I do want to shout out another coach. His name is Jeremy.
Really?
Gave us a lot of opportunities as well. He got a great gym as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's Coach Jeremy Voiles. We've worked pretty close with him in the last year. He's got a gym over in Jeffersonville, Indiana. He does a lot of youth development, helping a lot of kids, and he's helped us. He's helped us find some other opportunities to get some training, and you know, he's had an integral part in about the last year of his development and getting some of these fights accomplished here in Louisville. So a big shout out to Coach Voiles.
Shout out to boys. And just like that, man, we out.
This podcast was produced by B. Haywood for Confirmed Podcast Network. Confirmed.